Good morning, everyone. Uh, my topic is basically I'm going to look at the AI, artificial intelligence landscape in China, the way it has evolved over the years. So, although the focus has always been since 2000 onwards on science and technology innovation, and in 2015, China came up with the foundational strategy Made in China 2025, which talks about AI and all. But interestingly, in 2015, the Chinese military strategy also changed. So before that, the strategy used to be local war under information conditions. But in 2015, the strategy changed to the local war in an intelligent fashion, which is basically intelligent war. So the idea was they were going to use AI into most of these systems and put it into a commanding position. On these, there is a famous incident of March 2016 when Google's AlphaGo machine basically defeated I think, world champion in Go game. Have you heard about it? Yeah, yeah. So this guy was defeated by a machine in a 5 round. He lost to four to one. And the Chinese champion, Mr. Kochie, next year in 2017, he was defeated in a straight round of 3-0. That was a major issue in China. In fact, the Chinese Central Military Commission came up with this statement saying that artificial intelligence has enormous potential in combat command, program reduction, and decision making. So from that moment onwards, I see a lot of focus on AI, whether it is civil or in military applications. Then again in 2017, State Council came up with a foundational regulation called New Generation Artificial Intelligence Development Plan. It is famously called AIDP. That has shaped the whole discussion. And in 2018, Xi Jinping took the entire Politburo on a special study session only on AI, where they came up with these targets that by 2030, China was going to become leaders in theory, AI technology, and AI applications. So far, if you see, the trajectory has been quite powerful. The focus of the top leadership, the focus of the corporations has always been towards achieving this target. Now, at the outset, let me say this. Look, I'm a scholar on Chinese military, so every morning, evening, I keep hearing about military applications of AI, how it is going to destroy the world and all that stuff. AGI, singularity, we keep hearing about it. And it's not that China has excessively focused on the military application of AI. I mean, they have been talking, in fact, in 2018, Madam Fu Ying, the vice chairman of Foreign Affairs Commission of NPC, she talked about having some sort of arms control agreement on AI because it was that powerful, it was going to change the entire dimension of war. And even in applications, China has used AI for autonomous military vehicles, robotics, drones, military command decision making. We talk about humans in the loop, humans on the loop. There has been a lot of research going on in the military sector. And basically, the idea is they want to leapfrog in military technologies. Leapfrog is you skip the whole generation. So one of the problems China faces is right now the American stealth fighters or the aircraft carriers or the nuclear submarines, they are far more advanced than what China has. So China looks at AI as a technique or a tool to somehow skip the whole generation and develop some sort of disruptive technologies to challenge the American domination. But here the approach is a little bit different. Approach is, see, if you compare it with what Soviets were doing, Soviets were basically stealing the advanced technology from the West and immediately using it to the military sphere. Chinese are not doing that. China has taken a very different approach. What China is doing, China is inviting all the foreign technology into its domestic commercial sector and using entire venture capital, a lot of investments to develop the whole commercial industry. With the idea that once the commercial industry in AI picks up, it will automatically gradually enhance the military sector. So the military sector is not the first focus. The commercial sector is far more focused. And secondly, it's not being done through the government sector. Government is definitely marshalling all the resources. There are funds. It's providing land and good regulatory environment. But the AI research in China is done by private sector, something called AI national champions, which is the famously said IABCD, iFlyTech, Ant Financial, uh, Paitu, DeepSeek, Tencent, all these companies. So these are the national champions. These have been declared officially in 2018 that these will be the ones leading the AI research in China. And they have marshaled billions and billions of dollars for the investment in AI, which has definitely given them a lot of edge in that. Then, as per the Chinese own evaluation, China has definitely some weaknesses when it comes to developing AI. And what they have discussed it, a couple of times is one is the talent shortage. China does not have enough engineers looking into AI. It is definitely the second largest, but the first one has far more bigger advantage. I mean, American industry and AI talent pool is pretty huge. So what China is talking about is having a 5-year plan where they can, train 500 instructors, at least 5,000 engineers who are specifically working on AI. That is the plan, and that is ongoing plan. And second is Chinese industry is bit behind in setting technical standards. Something called standard essential patents, which like for example CDMA and all other the standards which were set by some Chinese companies. That is not exactly happening in AI as such. Also, because of the reason, because AI is a still evolving kind of technical area. So that is one focus where China is trying to gain some of those ACPs and set the whole trend. Third one is the problem is software frameworks. So if you look at it, AI is basically sorry. As of today, the AIs are what they're doing is the machine learning capabilities and the software development tools. They're bringing together in a software framework. So Google has come up with something called TensorFlow, or Apache is coming with Spark, or Microsoft is using CNTK. They're using all these software frameworks to develop AI. uh, China has not been able to develop its own indigenous software framework. I mean, SenseTime has definitely used something called Parrots, but that is not that much in fashion. And fourth major weakness is in semiconductors. So far, most of the semiconductors, especially the advanced ones, were coming from US. But as you know, in 2018, American government put sanctions on Chinese industry. So anything below 7 nm processors are not being exported to China. But it has this pipeline of 28 nm or 60 or 90 mm processor, which it has kind of imported in bulk. Some Chinese companies like Huawei and others are developing 7 nm processors. It is very recent development. But the biggest problem they faced is there is a machine called lithography machine. So these are two lithography machines basically made by a Dutch company called ASML. So the less advanced one is called deep ultraviolet lithography machine, and the most advanced one is called extreme ultraviolet machines. So extreme has completely been banned. I mean, China has not been able to buy at least one machine from ASML. But they have bought a lot of deep ultraviolet machines, the kind of second level of machines, which are also good enough to produce 28 nm and other chips. But this year, Mr. Biden put extra sanctions, and he said even those machines which have been bought by China from ASML, the maintenance will not be given by ASML, and the spare parts will also not be given by them. So there is a very focused American strategy to somehow scuttle the chip supply to China. This is a major concern. And China has been trying to find workarounds to somehow get out of it. So what they have done is, instead of going through the high value NVIDIA graphic processing units, they are now talking about something called TPUs, tensor processing units. So what you do is you stack these 28 nm chips and make them work as if they're the high-end chips. And the workaround is very unique and somehow trying to get through this constant driven approach, but getting most out of whatever you have. And finally, this year, I think since last 2 months, we have been hearing that finally China has been able to build its own indigenous lithography machine, which might come in 1 or 2 months. And they are going to produce their own 28 nm chips from those machines. So if they start making their own machines which can make chips, that will be one major kind of challenge to the TSMC, the Canon, the Nikon, and also all the American design centers. Apart from these restrictions, if you see, there are also regulatory restrictions. So Chinese AI industry has to work under very definite regulations, because obviously the political considerations are there, the information control, the positive energy, which they say that all the net should always give positive energy in the society, and all the political things which we talk about. But they have put proper regulations in place. So in 2021, they came up with something called regulation recommendation algorithms. In 2022, they came up with regulation on deep fakes. And 2023, the first draft measures for regulation on generative AI was put. What they have done is they have put the entire AI in a proper policy framework, and the draft artificial intelligence law is also being discussed right now by State Council. Probably in a year or two, there'll be a proper capstone law on defining what AI can do or what AI cannot do. Now, if you look at it, it has negative connotations. It also has positive connotations. Content moderation is very fashion in these days. Like, we have heard a lot about Twitter and all this content moderation. Now, in Chinese case, it can become extreme. But even in democracies, we need some sort of content moderation. So if having similar laws which can help our AI development under a proper policy framework, that will also help a lot. Finally, when it comes to applications, so you see, there are three criteria when it comes to AI: theory, technology, and applications. So theory-wise, they're a little bit weak. Technology, they are catching up gradually. But in applications, they have done wonders, right? So what they have realized is they can't develop very innovative general purpose technologies. Thank you. But application wise, they can do wonders. So you'll see all these AI, like there are like 4,400 AI companies who are working on innovations, 4,400. And they're working in fabulous sectors. For example, BYD is using LLM, the generative AI, to develop a voice assistant, to develop autonomous driving. Say, for example, in robotics, they are talking about developing some sort of human and robot interactions. So you talked about agriculture thing you talked about. There is a company called AI. I mean, it's Baidu and Elephant Robotics. They are talking about all these autonomous crop spraying, harvesting, seeding, field monitoring. Uh, the fun incident was, all these videos, small short videos of robots cutting paddy and cutting wheat is all over the YouTube. So last year we had some labor problems back home, and I showed some of those videos to the workers there, and they were horrified because the problem is the robot can cut, your paddy whole day, whole night. He won't be tired. Okay, so that creates a lot of problem for the labor population, and what kind of replacement they are going to see is going to work a lot. Similarly, Baidu, Huawei, they are all working in application sectors. And for example, SenseTime is also done wonders in that. So at the end, if I look at Chinese AI, the both civilian sectors and military sectors, there are definitely negative implications, and we hear about it all the time. But for us, and especially for the global south, the way they have developed the whole industry and the kind of applications they have used in their practical life, practical, cost effective, and constant driven AI, that is big example for us. We can, choose to just be jealous and sit side, or we can learn from them. I'll stop here.